Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of having somebody that is returning to Josh Barnett's Bloodsport February 13th. Yes, Saturday, February 13th. He is the one and only J.R. Kratos. Kratos, what's going on,
brother?
man?
Thank you for having me, brother. Appreciate it.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. And again, we were kind of talking off air because you are, obviously you've had an illustrious pro wrestling career. We're talking, Keepers of Faith. We're talking, all pro wrestling synonymous superstar. But, you're synonymous with Bloodsport because of that Superman punch that you did back in WrestleMania weekend on the East Coast. And I was just like, to see feats of skill from a man your size, and you are a gargantuan human being, it's phenomenal.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, no, man, it was just, it was crazy, man. That was actually my introduction to the East Coast. So, I got so many things to thank Josh for, man, but that was one of them. He brought Bloodsport out there, and, that was the first time I've ever competed in the East Coast. So that was cool, man. And I saw an opportunity to make a little buzz and see what's up, and Simon just got it, dude. He was open, so I just took the shot, and it landed, and there went that.
Which, you said create a little buzz. I'm sure your opponent for that night, after that match, was left a little bit buzzy after all of that. Maybe even concussed. But, that's it. But again, with Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, those are the rules of engagement. There's no ropes, right? It's the ring. This is as close to, right? Eddie Bravo, the major domo of 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu likes to say that, his combat jiu-jitsu with open hand slaps, is essentially the evolution, right, of grappling into MMA. But so to it, I think Bloodsport, in that same kind of ilk, should be given that same respect.
Oh, absolutely, man. That's one of the things that Josh has not tried to create, that has created. You know what I mean? There's definitely a bar that is set, man. These guys. I was actually explaining this to a guy that asked me how to purchase the pay-per-view. It's like, he's like, how do you get on there? How do you get on there? And I can go on and on how you get on there, but it's one of those things. You look at just the card, just anybody on the card, you wouldn't want to meet any of them in a dark alley. You know what I'm saying? So it speaks for itself, man. There's a bar that's set, and you have to meet that. Every athlete on there has somewhat of a background, and they're just legit badasses, man. It's the best way to put it.
No, absolutely. And I love the fact that the fight that it brings, because oftentimes, in terms of pro wrestling, a lot of people do not associate pro wrestling with fight. But the thing about it is what Karl Gotch, right? What George Hackenschmidt, were doing, right? That was pro wrestling, right? But again, talk about the missing link. Shout out to Dewey Robinson, right? But the missing link, right, of the UFC and then the WWE style pro wrestling is, again, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. We've got Pancrase in Japan. Pancrase, was essentially the promotion that were started by two professional wrestlers, right? Funaki and Suzuki, obviously, and essentially some of the greatest, mixed martial artists of the time. We're talking Ken Shamrock, right? Ken Shamrock, Bas Rutten, the aforementioned War Master Josh Barnett, have all competed, and two of those three have actually won championships in Pancrase. But again, a legit sport created by two wrestlers. So again, to me,
it is, man. It's like I love talking about this promotion. It's because something that I truly get behind. You know what I'm saying? It's legit, man. I mean, that's just the best way to explain it. You know, it's pro wrestling, but mixed with badassery. You know what I mean? Like everyone in here is legit. I mean, if you're just a pro wrestler with no background, you'll get exposed real quick, man. You know what I mean? Because it's hard hitting fucking professional wrestling. That's why the fans love it. I mean, that's why it's getting wheels on it and it's taking off. It's something different, and the talent that Josh is bringing in is some real motherfuckers, man. I mean, that's just it.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, in previous incarnations of Bloodsport, we would have females compete, right? And
Yeah.
I love the fact that, badassery and meeting in the dark end of the alley was only kind of in reference to males, but I mean, there's females that are just as badass as any male, right? We've seen so many incarnations in sport, whether it be Layla Ali, Chris Cyborg, the Williams sisters, right? All badasses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you guys carry a lot of that true sport feel. Just like you said, you have to be a legit grappler to compete
that's
in
why I think
Bloodsport.
that's why I think it's so different, man. Even if you become a fan of any talent that's on this card, you watch them on the independents or wherever they go outside of Bloodsport, and they're really kicking people's asses, man. You know what I mean? There's a certain element that they bring to those shows that makes the fans go, "Oh shit, dude, that wasn't a cartwheel with the fucking super kick." You know what I mean? That was just a knee to the head. Holy shit, dude, that looked real. So that carries a lot of weight, man. That's what we do in Bloodsport, man. That's us.
No, absolutely. Which I kind of want to go back to it because I mean there are easier ways to earn a living beyond professional wrestling, right? So how
plenty of other
right? Plenty, literally millions, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, it is. I mean, the sport of gods, literal gods, right? Zeus, Hercules, they were fucking wrestling. You can't tell me any different, at least for me, whether that's hyperbole or not, right? So, how did a young J.R. Kratos become essentially accustomed to the world of kings pro wrestling?
Well, when I was a little kid, I grew up in San Francisco, California, and there's a historic fucking arena there called the Cow Palace, and my dad and actually my grandma was the head of security there. So again, my dad's got a fuck ton of brothers and sisters, man. So all his brothers and our family was the security of the Cow Palace for years as I was a kid. So I used to go to all the events, man. I used to go to everything, and wrestling obviously was a huge one that I look forward to. When it was a circus, when it was concerts, when it was anything, I just stayed in the security room, man, and just hung out and played video games in my grandma's office. But when it was wrestling, I was out there, man. I was watching, and there was this one time where sorry, my phone was. There was this one time when I was a little kid, and my dad, we're going to the Cow Palace. Like it's a regular wrestling show. I'm fucking stoked. I'm ready. Blah blah blah. And I see him, and he's not getting dressed in his security stuff. I mean, we're not doing the same routine. We went and said hello to my grandma and all the guys and all that shit, and then he grabs me, and then I see the crowd start coming in. I'm like, what the hell? And he surprised me, man. And we sat front row, and it was when Papa Shango wrestled the Ultimate Warrior. And when I saw the Ultimate Warrior come out, man, front row, get on the ropes and do his shit, man, it is the truth, man. I looked at my dad and I said, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be that one day. And my dad was like, oh, whatever, man, okay, whatever. I'm just a little kid, and kind of took off from there. Life took its course, and then I moved to Sacramento, and I used to bounce. Go figure. I was a bouncer at a club, and I was just working nights. I was getting tired of it, man. Being a bouncer, your wick is getting short, man. Like everything, it's just not for me anymore. And I'm thinking, damn, maybe I should really pursue this wrestling career. What the hell? Why not? And I went to my car, man, and no bullshit. There's a flyer on my car, and I grab it, and it's Supreme Pro Wrestling. It's a promotion out here in Sacramento. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh man, let let me see. I want to check this out. And I looked, and it was a Saturday night, and the show was the very next day. And I was like, oh, I'm going, man. So I went, bought a ticket, sat in the crowd, watched the show, and then at the end of the show, I just went up to the lady at the snack bar, and I was like, who do I talk to get involved in this? And his name is Sir Samurai, and went to him, and that's all she wrote, man. Started training, and it's funny, dude, because when I started training, man, I broke my Achilles, pulled my bicep, bruised my knee. I did all kind of stuff, man. So, everybody's in your ear like, man, I don't think this is the right choice, man. You should pursue this. Because at the time I graduated from medical assisting college, the college course. So I was working at the hospitals, and, that's an okay career, and everybody was like, nah, pursue that. Keep doing that. That's what you went to school for. And I was like, nah, so I kept going, made my debut in 2012, and fuck, man, I've been enjoying the ride ever since.
That's amazing, right? And
Crazy,
I mean, I for me, there's so many kind of iterations of and flashes of greatness in your story, because I too, I was born in San Francisco, born at the Kaiser. On, the Kaiser right there on Gary Street, lived in San Rafael. My dad actually played music. I guess the kids call it busking, but it was a street performer. But he played contemporary jazz right on Fisherman's Wharf.
Oh, yeah, right on, man. That's dope.
Yeah. Yes. So, but the Cow Palace, right? And that's, WWE just did a awesome documentary on the late, great Pat Patterson, right? First IC champion, and him and Ray Stevens were literally the kings of Roy Shire's, Cow Palace shows. And, and you mentioned that your family was security, and I just thought back, about, the Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans. And that
I wish I had it, man. I should have got it from my dad. There's a picture of, I got a picture with all of them, man, but the ones that I really like, especially now, is there's a picture of me and Andre the Giant's hand, dude. I'm 6 months old, bro. He has me in his hand standing with my dad. I'm just in his hand. He's holding me like this. I should have got it, but yeah. Shit.
That's sick. Yeah, that's so sick, right? So, was, at the time that you were growing up, was it just the WWF that was coming down, or was Roy,
No, it was Roy Shires. It was all those, man. But the ones I remember were the loud characters. You know what I mean? Like the Warriors. That's the one I remember as a kid. And then growing up, I started getting really fucking into the Taker. Still, man, Taker's. I don't care if I sound like a mark or whatever, man. Taker's the fucking man to me. And then, just like the big macho man, just the loud. I was always into that, man. Just the loud characters. I didn't know shit about wrestling. I wanted to be them, buff, veiny, cool.
Yeah, which, funny with Taker, right? To me, he, of course, wrestling legend, right? But when he used to talk about the creatures of the night, right? Those ended up becoming goth kids, right? So, Taker essentially had a linchpin kind of foothold in what would become popular culture in goth kids.
Yeah. He just was, man, you can go on about that guy too. He's just so different, man. So different. Like, when he walked aisles, man, and you were like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. No, 1,000%. I remember watching, because you remember, there was like a 3-hour block on San Francisco TV. You had American Gladiators, you had Monster Trucks.
Badass too, man.
Right? Monster Trucks, American Gladiators, and WWF Superstars. That was like a 3-hour block on Saturday.
Talk about the women in that shit, dude. In American Gladiators, I can't remember the names. Fuck, man. I remember as a kid, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Oh man, a couple weeks ago, I had Erin Tohill, who she was a boxer who faced Layla Ali in her prime, but she was actually a gladiator on the second incarnation that was hosted by the revamped one that was hosted by Layla and Hulk Hogan. Well, she was a gladiator on that, and I was and I was just did you meet Turbo? 20 years removed, but I was just like, did you meet Turbo?
Oh, That show was the shit, man.
Hell yes, man. And Don McGuire says the God of Thunder, 100%. And Little Diesel 408 says I used to go to Cow Palace for monster trucks. Absolutely. I mean,
Hell
that's a
yeah.
great place. Tremendous memories, And I mean, so you start training with Sir Samurai, right? And for those who don't know, he is a Bay Area legend, right? He has trained a lot of awesome people. You want to talk about, like, obviously J.R. Kratos. You want to talk the sprinkling of Bailey's early career. Like, Sir Samurai is it, right? So, I mean, you had all of those injuries, right? And you had all of those people that were telling you, hey, maybe this isn't the right choice. You had
Yeah.
a clear path of what most people would deem as success, but you yourself might have been like, no, that I know what I want to do, right? So
Absolutely.
what was it in you that were steadfast in your resolve, like, I'm going to be a professional wrestler, screw the bouncing, screw the I mean, the easier career, even though there's a level of difficulty, but that the easier, safer career, in the medical field,
Yeah,
and I'm
obviously,
going
I
to go
mean,
for it.
just for me, I've always been that creature, man. It's just anything I do, I'm gonna do it 150%, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes. I always, well, I say preach, but I always put that out there. Just the grind, the development of everything. It's just a process, man. It's not gonna, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's not gonna happen overnight, man. Some guys do, and that's great. Some guys, the journey's a little bit rough, but I think with those guys that come from the trenches, the value is just so much. There's so much more substance to it. There's more value to it. What it took for us to get here. You're not gonna knock us off that easy. And that for me, when I did it, was just I always just saw it as just challenges, man. Okay, I fucked up my arm. What do I got to do next time? You know what I'm saying? And this is a very physical sport, man. So these things are just part of the game. It's better have insurance, man, because you're gonna you're gonna go to the doctors. They're gonna know you by name eventually. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very physical sport. I knew that when I got into it. I was very, I wouldn't say dumb. I was just immature. I was very green. So I used to 300 pounds, man, jumping off the ropes, jumping outside, doing just all the cool shit, and didn't know rhyme or reason why to it. And then once I started getting more experience and being in the ring with vets and guys that taught me things and learned how to work, I definitely slowed the fuck down and only did that on certain big shows. And so I guess I veer off, but to answer the question was just I was motivated to be a wrestler, man, and I knew that this was it. The peers around me, I had really good guys that motivated me. Even though you were hurt, still come. There's so much more you can do. You can watch videos. And that's true, man. When I messed up every injury, I still went to practice, man. I still went to training. If I was sitting there watching the guys, I was there, and I really wanted to do this, man. This is what I wanted to do, and no matter what, I was going to do it. I don't care what anybody said. And then now everybody's like, "Hoorah!" But it is what it is, man.
No, but I mean, you weren't wrong, because again, for the era of pro wrestling that you came into, right? I mean, you're even 10 years removed from, like, Big Show, Paul White, who was the giant in WCW, would literally run the apron and then do a missile drop kick,
Yeah.
like. And so even he had to be told to slow down. You had Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania versus Kurt Angle do
Oh
the
my
shooting
God,
star.
dude.
Yes,
Right?
right? So you're not wrong, theoretically speaking, for wanting to do the cool shit, because that's what pops the crowd. But again, in terms of longevity, like, no disrespect, but I look at, like, Darby Allin, I'm like, that's going to be fun when you're 40.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it's working for him. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think once he gets to a certain level, yeah, all that shit's gonna stop. So, but yeah, it's one of those things, man. I think you watch even Andre when he was younger. Those fucking die like that doing drop kicks and shit.
Yeah.
I think it's just part of the game, man. Eventually, you run across that one guy that's just gonna fucking bat. What are you doing? You know what I mean? You could do this and be so much better and be so much more unique. Stop doing that shit unless there's a rhyme and reason to it. And I was fortunate enough to be around those guys, so
That
I'm still
no, that
here.
yeah, you are still here. Damn right. So in your training with Sir Samurai, obviously you had incurred those injuries. Very legit. Again, I cannot stand when people are like wrestling's fake. I'm like, yeah, you tell that to the doctor who's trying to assess you. Harley Race in a wheelchair the first and last time that I saw him. You tell them that pro wrestling fake. It is not, right?
Yeah.
But how long were you training with Sir Samurai, and also how long did it take you to convalesce, from those injuries to get back in the ring?
They took care of me, man. I trained for about a year, almost a year and a half, and then just from all the shit that I accumulated too, and then probably for like a steady year, and then like I said, I debuted January 8th in 2012 with Supreme Pro Wrestling here in Sacramento, and it's been a ride, dude. They took care of me. I've loved the foundation I came from, and then I just was able to journey off and meet incredible people like Josh and just other trainers. Going to other cities, other states, and just being around guys that have been there and done that, man. I can't tell you how fortunate I've been and been around guys that have been there and done that. I've been in the ring with them, fucking Matt Hardy, fucking all these guys, man. You're putting stuff together, and they're so cool by saying no. Like I always go back to there's a match I did for Global Force Wrestling, I think it was in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time I met Shelton Benjamin. And I see him coming up, and he's all, hey, what's up, man? Blah, blah, blah. Same old bullshit in wrestling. We'd meet each other and all this and that, and we're putting it together, dude. And this was honestly the first time that someone's ever told me, no, we're not going to do that. And I don't say that like with a big ego, but no one ever really told me no. Like, okay, well, what are we going to say? You know what I mean? Kratos wants to do it, we'll do it. So I told Shelton, I was like, I think I told him, I said, okay, man, I'm going to fucking grab you, and I'm going to bill you, and then fucking throw you. And he was like, and I was still very green. He was like, dude, this is the beginning of the match, bro. We're not fucking doing that. And I was like, what? And so we put the match together, man, and I think we wrestled for 10 minutes. And just the knowledge I grasped from putting the match together, from actually being in the ring with him and listening to what his psychology was and how the crowd reacted to us doing stuff. It was, and I think I bumped once and he bumped maybe twice. And it was like, fuck, when I was putting it together with him in the first 5 minutes, I had him bumping everywhere. You know what I mean? And he was like, no. And so hats off to that dude, man. Still to this day, he's cool as shit. But that was probably the light bulb went on, like, oh yeah, the bumps do mean something. Yeah, this is why we do that. This is why we're not going to do that. And then from him sitting down and explaining it to me, and then, like I said, actually going out there and competing with him, it was, as we're doing it, I'm like, oh shit, this is what you were talking about, dude. Like, this is so easy.
And sometimes less is more, right? Like you kind of set a super kick, and when there's 8 super kicks in a match. Again, the UFC was just last night, right? I mean, I have friends, Chris Curtis in his Dana White Contender Series debut, right? Broke his hand in the first round, right?
Oh shit!
Like the first couple seconds of the fight, right? And still figured out a way to literally super kick KO his opponent, right? And that's legit, right? So if you're doing a super kick, right? If you're doing a DDT, there should only be one DDT, right? Because if that can take out Steamboat, then the fuck.
I
right?
always say, like, I always tell guys, like, when they come in, because now, I'm nowhere near any kind of anything, but when someone comes to me and they've done like a falsie, but the falsie is a DDT, and they kick out, really legitly think, if Jake the Snake was sitting in the fucking front row and you hit a DDT for your first falsie, would you have done that? And then it's like, that's the man that fucking took thousands of people out with the DDT, and you're gonna kick out in front of this motherfucker? Like, no, that's how you gotta, you know what I mean? So just little things like that, man. It goes a long way, and I think it resonates with the fans too, because especially when they're a long time fan, fucking Jake, come on, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
So
And especially a guy your size, right? I mean, everything that you do is gonna, even when you potato the shit out of somebody, like there's no way, like good luck trying to no sell a fucking potato from you. That's
right.
your face, like Bobby Heenan said with Andre and Warrior, it's an Earl Scheib job. You're fucking, all of your
Yeah.
shit is just gonna be discombobulated. Your nose over here, your fucking ear over there. It's not a pretty
Let's just
sight,
go
right?
home, brother. Let's just go
Yeah.
home.
But that's legit, So, and that's awesome because again, somebody who has, I mean, arguably one of the most athletically accomplished and gifted, people that have ever graced wrestling biz in Shelton Benjamin, right? And teaming with Charlie Haas, who also was led by Kurt Angle, and then having all of the veterans that were in the WWE at the time.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. It was just like, come on,
Absolutely. It was a wealth of knowledge I learned that night, man. I always tell that story because it's true. After that night, I started thinking about everything I fucking did, even if I kicked you for no, like, why am I kicking you? Where am I trying to go? What are we doing with this? I'm thankful to him, and I told him that every time I see him, and he's like, well, come on, it's cool.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, Global Force Wrestling, right? I mean, that was, that in many ways was like the precursor to what we now know as like AEW, right? Because it was an alternative to Impact, it was an alternative to WWE, New Japan, So that's a big stage, but I mean, how long? Because again, there are people that think, oh, I'm just going to get some basketball shorts from Foot Locker or delivered to me from Amazon, and I'm going to be a wrestler. Like that's just it. So how long did it take you from 2012 to that point?
I would probably say, honestly, man, there's so much to learn in this business, but to kind of even have any kind of weight to my word, I guess I'd probably say it took about 5 years, man, maybe even 6. I would say, and I say that humbly because I thought I knew what the fuck I was doing at 2 years, but I wasn't, and it's just like I said, man, being blessed and being put in positions like for All Pro Wrestling in San Francisco, California, Marcus Mack giving me opportunities to be in the ring with the names that he flew in. It's like you learn so much from being in the ring with guys that do this for a living and do this shit 5 to 6 times a week. You learn that, just what we spoke of earlier, man, less is more. But then again, it's more for the crowd. It's kind of like it's weird how that all makes fucking sense, man, but it's less for us, but it's more for them, because they can grasp it. They're understanding what's going on. We're telling a story. You know what I mean? There's so much. It's a movie, man. We're the paintbrushes in there, dude. And we're just painting our fucking story. But, those are things that are just, you learn so much from. And I'd probably say about 6 years, man, until I started understanding the whys, whats, and all the other shit that we do. It's crazy. And it's a never ending learning tree. That's what I love about it, man. Everyone has a different opinion about it, and it's great. You talk to anybody that's a name or anybody that has substance to what they're talking about, and they all have great ideas, man. Great opinions about what's done, and you just take that and run with it, man. It's great.
No, 100%. And you say 5 or 6 years, but I mean, that's 5 or 6 years of, working every weekend, being a weekend warrior, going out to Texas for like not even your gas, all of the trials and tribulations that, many don't even account for. They just see WWE, they just see Impact, they just see AEW, and they're like, oh, I can do that. And it's just like, no, there's an art, there's a skill. And even for you to get to that point and have a veteran go like, hey, and in many ways, in some of the locker rooms that you were in 5 years in, you're the veteran. But even still, which is a great parable of life where you could learn at every juncture of your career.
Yeah, everything, man. And that's what I'd love to pass on, man, is just that attitude You know, it's stay humble, man. You know, regardless what you walk the aisle as, whatever you are when you walk out that curtain, when you walk back, just be a man, man. Be a man of respect. Be humble, and be open to criticism. Shit, man. I first started with Josh. Like, Jesus Christ, I thought he hated me. You know, he's like, man, what the fuck, you know, doing all this shit. But when you sit back and you think and you go back to the hotel room and you're just resignating everything that he just yelled at you about, it makes sense when you watch back. You know, that didn't make sense. I was just being a dumbass Mark and just thought that looked cool. You know, and it's not it, man. It's it's not it.
No, and Julian Smith saying, first off, Kratos locally at PCW, great match, absolutely. And I think, yeah, that was around the same time. You and Graves as the Keepers of Faith. I mean, and you guys literally tore up everywhere, like literally destruction. You guys could have been the destruction crew. You guys just wrecked everything from here, Arizona, Southwest. Like, you just were doing all types of cool shit all the time.
Putting in the grind, man. The grind.
Yes.
Those are some good dudes too, man. Dom and Gallo. Those are some solid ass cats out there. Hammerstone, all those guys, man. They're good dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned Don Vitale. You know, up until COVID, he still had a role in PCW. You know, on camera. So, I mean, just like a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I definitely want to get into APW, right? Because that was synonymous with the one and only Beyond the Mat, right? I mean, that was the brainchild of Roland Alexander. We saw all, you know, Mike Modest is kind of, and the shooter Tony Jones. We saw all of that, right? So now you're here. I mean, one of my friends, James Kincaid, Bimbo Jimbo, is a commentator there. You know, so I mean, did you know about the history? I mean, you grew up in wrestling. So
what's funny is that I knew about the history. Of course, I watched Beyond the Mat, and my dad obviously he's just super supportive ass dude, man. And I heard APW. This was before I debuted. I was like, okay, I heard APW's running, so let's go to the garage. That's where they used to have their shows, obviously. And then what's funny is that if you watch it on YouTube, they turned out to be, which I'm grateful for, some of my best friends in the business is Tim Thatcher and Jeff Cobb. So they're wrestling, dude, and you could see me in the corner, like I'm in the crowd just watching them. You know what I mean? At the garage with APW. And I thought that was pretty cool because now, you know, how life evolved. Now we're best of friends, and that was cool. But the history of it was I just always knew that Roland was he was so intimidating. You know what I mean? When I would see the guy, it was like, and then you hear the stories of the guy, and then you're just like, oh shit. So when I started getting involved with APW and going to the camps and doing things to try to earn a position on the card, it was hard, man. They also had a bar that had to be met too, and they pushed you to your limits, dude. And then when I got my opportunity, it was cool, man. I learned so much there, so much, and those guys are some kick-ass dudes. So, but Roland, man, I got a story about Roland. So
yes,
it was I think it was a Halloween Havoc show or something. I can't remember, but Adam Thornstone, he's part of the Reno Scum on Impact now. We're putting the match together, and he's, oh fuck, man, I want to do something cool. And here goes my dumbass, was like, okay, this is not what he had in mind, but I was like, okay, you see the rafter up there? I'm gonna jump off it. And he was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea, bro. Like, but being me, I was like, just come on, man. I think it was 6 of us in the fucking match, or so. I can't even remember. There was a lot of guys, so I was like, just fucking stand there and catch me. And all the guys were like, fuck, dude, nah, man, this is fucking stupid. And I was like, it's all right, man, it's all right. And so luckily they all took care of me. But I remember when I jumped off, there goes me. I thought it was the coolest fucking thing, right? Coolest thing. And go back to Roland Alexander. I go straight to the back, and I'm thinking Roland's going to say, man, great match. And I follow him to his office, and he shuts the door. And I'm still like, yeah, man, he's going to tell me, great job. And he turns around, bro. He turns around, and he fucking winds back like he's going to slap the shit out of me. So he goes to slap me, and I kind of dodge it because I seen it coming, and he like hit me on my chest, and he was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I was like, "What?" Because in my head I was totally dumbfounded. I thought he was gonna say good shit.
Yeah.
But nah, man, he reamed my ass for jumping off that fucking rafter, dude. No, man, and I, never did it again, obviously. But yeah, dude, it's that's rolling. It just that's one of my stories with him.
That's amazing. I mean, a literal legend in the sport of not just pro wrestling, but just in life. Even people that work, ring crew, I would hear stories about them. Announcers that came from APW. And it's just like, again, synonymous with a lot of the people that are in some of the bigger companies now can directly be correlated to Roland Alexander.
Oh yeah, they have so many people pass through there, man. It's pretty dope when you look at
Yeah, 100%. And my sketchy artist has, and still much more. What a journey. Sh-
it. Thank you.
So I gotta ask, like in terms of like some of the coolest venues to apply your trade, because that's essentially if you're an artist, and my sketchy artist 99 knows exactly that. But if you're an artist, to be able to apply your trade and go to different places that you wouldn't normally go to, with essentially your two hands, right? So, what are some of your favorite matches to be a part of and venues to perform?
Shit, man. Well, my favorite match is the next one, obviously. No, but one of the most just more meaningful ones goes back to APW when we ran into Cow Palace, just because obviously the opportunity to walk the aisle there and the historic, just the legacy that's in that building. To be able to walk the aisle is where I first saw wrestling, and I wanted to do this. That was a very, very emotional for me, and to just walk the aisle. Sorry to hear my baby, but
No, you're good.
just walking the aisle and seeing my family there, and just knowing that my grandma, my whole family, it was super emotional, man. Even it was pretty cool because before we got there, obviously you get to the venue hours before the event, and I was just kind of just in my head a little bit. And speaking of my pal Jeff, Cobb was like, "Man, let's just go walk around." And I was like, "Okay." And then we just walked back into the security room, man, where my grandma was, where I was a kid, and I'm explaining to him, and it was just a really cool night, man. And being able to walk out there and compete in the ring under those lights at the Cow Palace, that was definitely a memory that I'll fucking never forget, man. That was kudos to Marcus Mack too for making that shit happen, because I know that was goddamn. But that was a cool one for me. And then the second one was getting the opportunity through Pro Wrestling Revolution with Gabriel Ramirez over there,
Yeah.
and having my first time go to Japan with All Japan Pro Wrestling, and then wrestling at Corkin Hall, man. That was another one for me. I was like, shit, I remember, dude, just hearing my music hit and being behind the curtain, and I'm just like, holy shit, dude, I'm in fucking Japan, about to walk out at another historical, all the names and wrestlers and just shit that has happened here. There's so much legacy here. It's like I'm about to walk out and be a part of that, and that was a cool moment for me, because I always say it, just walking through the ring and seeing that emblem on the ring was just like, holy shit. And then look up and just see Corkin Hall packed to the fucking gills. It was cool, man. That was also a cool moment for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ozzy Osbourne's played a Corkin, right? Like, I mean, it's not just pro wrestling, but then when you get into pro wrestling, especially as a gaijin, that's Baba's territory. The Funks,
Yeah.
San Hansen, like all of the amazing gaijin that walked through those hollowed halls under that banner of All Japan.
Yep.
Like again, it's no question that you're on Josh Barnett's show. Like to me, that's what it takes. That's
Thank you, man.
strong
Yeah.
style. Whether it be King's Road or strong style, it's still it.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's why I said earlier, man, there's definitely, the way I love to explain it is, there's just a bar that is set, and it's set by a badass himself, Josh Barnett, like to impress that guy is not fucking easy, man. And to get on his shows, there is no maybe. You have to be legit, dude. That's just to get you a conversation, just to get you in the door. You know, what are your accolades, man? Like, what have you done? You got to be able to kick someone's ass, dude, because you're gonna get your ass whooped on this card. This is not no independent wrestling fucking. You know, this is, like I said earlier, man. These guys are legit. These guys can really fuck some people up. So that's blood sport.
That's blood sport. You know, and Don McGuire wants to know, you know, hailing from the 916, did you ever get an opportunity to wrestle at the Memorial Auditorium?
Shit, man, I wish, dude. I went to a Impact taping there. I can't remember when, long time ago. And then, of course, I've always been into the MMA and boxing world, so I always used to go to the fights there. And I always used to think, man, shit. I said, we could pack this damn place, dude. That would be so dope to walk out here, because it's a big enough venue, but it's still very intimate. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I think it holds like 4,000 or 5,000. If I'm top of my head, I don't know. But just looking around there, it's like when I used to go to the fights and they would be somewhat sold out, it'd be like, damn, this would be a dope ass venue to walk out to. Plus in Sacramento too. But
yeah,
never say never, man.
Yeah. Oh, it just again. I mean, there's a litany. There's a couple MMA promotions that run out of there, and I just seeing it on Instagram, right? Like how majestic that is. And again, you know, it's yes,
cool, man.
Yes. Come on. So, I mean, Bloodsport. This happens like a week. Like less than a week away, right? I mean, a week from yesterday, right? February 13th. You're facing, speaking of All Japan, but you're facing a standout of the young lion out of New Japan, Alex Coughlin. So, I mean, how is this going to go?
How you think? No,
you're gonna knock him out. That's what I think. He might try some flippy shit. Yeah, I mean,
no, Alex. You know, just sit here and talk shit. But Alex is, you know, look at the dude, man. I mean, the guy's in great shape. He comes from a fucking dojo where they don't play. Like, Jesus Christ. That system, bruh, is unreal. And, you know, he's in it. He survived it. He's doing well, and he's doing his thing. But Bloodsport is a different animal, man. You know, it really, truly is. And, you know, it's something that, you know, I think when I get involved in it, I am who I am. But as soon as I walk through that curtain and I know that it's Bloodsport, I kind of like. I've always been a fan of Tyson. You know what I mean? You turn into something else, man. And once you get closer and closer to the ring, you know, like you said, it's just you can't be beat. And Bloodsport is that because it's very real, it's very physical, and you're in there with a 300-pound dude. So it's like, I don't know, Alex, it's a great, you know, he gets an opportunity to showcase himself, but it's not going to last long, man. It's not.
No
way,
I mean,
brother.
We might have our first, you know, our Broadway in Bloodsport history between you two. I think that is right. Very well. But your chests will theoretically, I mean, not theoretically, literally look like ground beef. Like that's walking out. It's just, right. I'm just saying.
No, yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. It'll be a good time for me.
Again, that's what I'm saying. It's like, how badass are you? Is kicking the shit out of somebody. It's just like it's a fucking fun Saturday night.
Yeah, right. Get a good envelope too. It's good.
Yeah. No, 100%. Now, Don McGuire, and I wanted to save this towards the end, but looking back, you know, down your path, what adversity has defined you moving forward in not just your career, but your life?
Oh, shit, man. That's a whole nother podcast, brother. In wrestling, let's just say that one. It's just the grind. You know, this is definitely a career where you're going to hear more no's than yeses, you know, and that could be very, very demotivating. You know what I mean? That could take you off your path. That could take you off of what you're trying to envision because you're human. You know what I mean? I've never been one to be jealous, man. That's not in my character. but you put in so much work into this craft. It consumes you, man. It's one thing that I've always expressed. For me, it consumes my fucking life, dude. This is who I am. You know what I mean? Outside of the ring, I'm a father, a soon-to-be husband, and that's it. Other than that, I'm a pro fucking wrestler, dude. That's all that is to me. And I do everything in my life around that. Like, I even wrestle with my baby. She's 16 months old, man. I'm fucking, I'm on her. If I'm not hurting her, then I'm all right. I'm not snug, But this is, I would say the adversities I faced is not getting the opportunities that I felt I deserved, being told no, and then having to wake up the next day and do the same shit, motivated, you know what I mean? Or, getting out of my own head and saying, this is for me. He may say no, but I'm going to get this guy to say yes. And I'm going to, he might see my value and this guy won't, and what was also hard for me was, again, not the jealousy thing, but seeing other guys get opportunities and you're not, and you're like, fuck, man, I got to go put in 10 hours of work now. And, you got to go to your shoot job and, work 10 hours a day, go to the gym, stay motivated, do all this, do your diet. And those kind of adversities, man, they're tough, man. They're tough because this is not, like I said earlier, this is not something that's going to happen in a day, fuck, even a year. You know what I mean? This is something that you're going to have to get very uncomfortable with, man, and chasing, and at the same time trying to elevate yourself and get yourself known and get your name out there. And, it goes back to, going to kind of veer off, but meeting Josh.
Yeah.
I have a buddy, Tim Thatcher. We always used to train out here, go to the MMA gyms and shit out here. And then one day he comes to me and he's all, hey, dude, what do you think about going to LA and going to a Josh Barnett seminar? And I'm like, yeah, like, let's fucking go. And so me, Jeff, and Tim got in a fucking car, drove to LA, and we go into the Josh seminar, right? We're doing the seminar. Josh is teaching a bunch of fucked up ass painful holds, and we're just doing that and going through repetitions. He's teaching it, and Shayna Baszler, dude, she's in there as one of the assistant coaches, right? And she was doing Josh was going over some kind of Achilles lock. Right, and I always give Jeff shit for this because listen to this shit. Josh is explaining the Achilles lock, and I don't know how it happened, but Shayna comes up to me and she's all, because Jeff said, hey, I don't know. I want to see that move. I'm not understanding it. And so Shayna looks at me and I look at Jeff. I'm like, motherfucker, dude, she's going to pick me. She comes over, dude, puts me on my back and gives me an Achilles lock. I swear to God, I fucking yelled so loud, dude. And I look at Jeff like, you motherfucker. And this fool says, can I see it one more time? I didn't really grasp that. And she did it again, dude. And I was like, God damn it. So that was my Barnett experience. Shayna's the first person to make me scream like a girl. But, things like that, man. Putting yourself out there, going to seminars, and being around the right guys that are on the same. That's one of the big things I like to say is surround yourself with the same guys, if you can, that are on the same vision as you. Work just as hard, because there's days that you're not going to want to do this shit. And if they're there with you, they're going to push you. And I was thankful for that, because Jeff, Tim, all those guys, we were always going somewhere, man, and trying to better ourselves. And if we never went to that seminar, who knows what would have happened? Because after that, Josh took the time and he comes up to us and we were speaking to him about pro wrestling and all this and that. And then that's how the relationship started. We started getting our ass whooped from that day forward. Let's go to this seminar. Okay, we'll get killed here. Let's go here with Josh. We'll get killed there. And, putting the time in with him. But that's just one of those things, as a wrestler. I think in any career you chase, you gotta be willing to put yourself out there. You're gonna spend money before you make money. So that's get used to sleeping in your car, man, because that's what we did, and those kind of adversities and just the journey. But you look back at it, and it was all worth it, man. It's all worth it, because you get opportunities like this. I get to be on here, I get to travel the world doing what I love and come home and be a dad, man. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, same. Like literally the same. And obviously within the last year, you got a lot more time to define a role as a dad.
Fuck yeah.
That happens too, right? But also to perfect this craft. I mean, this podcast pre-July did not even exist, but you kind of figure out a way to to get where you need to be, right? Where you feel you need to be, right?
I figured this, like I always said it too, speaking with my family the other night, is just 2020 really will show you again in any career who really wanted it,
Hmm.
because if this was an adversity to overcome, man, in anything you're trying to chase, this was the year to show not only to yourself but to whoever following you have that this is what I want to do. This is it, and no matter what, we're gonna make it happen. So, hats off to everyone that's doing that.
Absolutely. Now, we can't talk about Bloodsport without the alumnus, right? Because obviously you mentioned Thatcher, and look at where he is. You look at
Fuck.
Cobb, look at where he is, right? So you're, I mean, in the main event, it's you and Cobb. You and Cobb are, I mean, you guys aren't wrestling, but you guys are essentially on the same card. You got to make that walk together like one more time to share a locker room one more time with all of the things that you guys have been through over the years. How cool is that?
It's really cool, man. Bloodsport is obviously huge, but as well as being able to be at New Japan Pro Wrestling too, man. That was really cool. Um, just that, man. It's just fuck, dude. That's really cool. And then being able to obviously compete in Bloodsport, it's just the journey that just for both of us, our journeys were different, but what we did in the beginning to get here, it's something we all experienced. Who's got money to buy fucking lunch today? Shit, we got to get home. We still got 150 miles. It's just it was cool, man. It's just those things we laugh at, and it's gotten us to here. And I know I can speak for him. It's very grateful, man. We're living a kick-ass life right now. So can't complain.
No, 100%. You are living a kick-ass life. And Don McGuire, who is a legendary podcaster, radio host, and photographer, says, I'm proud of you. Because he himself is from the 916.
Thank you,
And
brother.
people
Thank
say,
you.
absolutely, people say that you can't grow from there. But you guys have both found success.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too. Like everybody was always what I always used to hear. In the business is like NorCal's dead. No one looks over here anymore. And I always just was in my head like, dude, there's no way. There's so much fucking talent out here. And but then again, that just speaks for the ones that break that wall of adversity. You know what I mean? You don't listen to the bullshit, man. You stay on your vision and you stay on your grind and wake up every day and go harder and harder and harder. And hard work speaks for itself, man. Eventually it's going to happen. It has to, man. That's just the way it works. Might take a little bit longer, but I'll see you at the top. You know what I'm saying?
But again, that's it, right? That relentless pursuit of betterment, the
That's it.
relentless pursuit of success, and success that not anybody else seems, but that you can look in the mirror and go, "Fuck yeah, that dude is cool," right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's essentially all you would want.
Hell yeah.
Which Don McGuire wants to know. He says, "Give me a Franklin Boulevard memory, Carnal." So
Oh shit.
synonymous. But go ahead, your floor is yours.
uh, I'd probably say when I had my first daughter, I used to have a lowrider truck, and we used to cruise down Franklin Boulevard and just do very stupid shit, dude. But yeah, that was probably one of the things up there is Franklin, yeah, Broadway, all that shit, man. That was those days where you go show off your cars and pick up chicks and have a good time, man. So you're gonna get me in trouble over here, so.
Don McGuire, I'm pointing the finger at you, good
Yeah.
sir. No, but I mean, obviously, an amazing career thus far, a legacy, and a career that is continuing. And where the next stop in that career, that legacy, is February 13th, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. So Alex Coughlin is watching us right now. So this is not to us. We're not even in the room. You,
Oh, he
J.R.
knows. I mean,
Kratos.
he knows. He shares the locker room with me in New Japan. You know, we're there, so there's nothing simple. Just keep it short. I'm gonna kick his ass, man. That's just it. And he knows it. You know, and he knows what I bring to the table. I know what he brings to the table. Fans are gonna get what they want. Buy the pay-per-view, man. You'll not only get it from us, man, but shit, look at everybody else. Got Davey Boy Smith on there. You got Cobb. You got Dickinson. You got fucking every. I always say that too, man. Every time I get, man, that Davey Boy Smith is a legit fucking killer, man. That guy
Hmm.
is one of the nicest dudes. You see him, he's just cool as fuck, but that guy can rip your goddamn head off. So
Hmm.
I always say that because I'm always a fan of him, and I want to roll with him so bad because I don't know. We'll see what happens, but maybe I don't. But you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Oh my God. And it's not just his dad, right? I had a few weeks ago at his sister, Georgia, right? And
Oh
you're like,
yeah,
yeah, Davy Boy Smith, is his dad, but his grandfather is Stu Hart, legendary shooter. His uncles are like Brett and Owen, like again shooters. Like those are the things where when people are like wrestling fake, I would point back to the Hearts and be like, no, it ain't.
yeah. You get in the
Fuck
ring
no.
with guys like us for 30 seconds, man. It'll change your mind real quick.
Yes, that is it. Now, obviously, Kratos, there have been a lot of people that have been attributed to your success, both professionally and personally. So take the time. The floor is yours. Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
Oh shit, man! I don't want to miss anybody. I wish I made a list. Uh, Obviously the guys from Supreme Pro Wrestling in Sacramento, they gave me my foundation, and I was able to grow from there. You know, can't build a house on sand, man. So they were definitely the foundation that has given me a hell of a ride so far. Um, Marcus Mack at All Pro Wrestling, Sparky from Gold Rush Pro Wrestling in Pacifica. Uh, did I say Marcus Mack from All Pro Wrestling
Yeah.
already? Yeah. Gabriel Ramirez from Pro Wrestling Revolution, man. He's given me a fuck ton of opportunities, man. He's always in my ear how to market better, how to just be better, and he's given me opportunities to be in the ring with fucking guys like La Parca, shit like that, man. Those guys, again, the learning curve that you'll learn with those guys is insane. Um, Shit, man. Obviously, Josh Barnett. That guy has tremendously impacted my career as far as helping me train, the knowledge that he's given me to carry on with what we believe in. Fuck, man. Who else? And just guys that have impacted me as far as being in the ring would probably be the Big Ugly. He's also a guy out here from NorCal. Being in the ring with him is obviously I've learned so much being with that guy. Um, Big Rick out here that runs his promotion, and that's another guy. I loved picking his brain because it's another big man. I remember he used to pull me aside after matches, same thing. You don't have to do all that, man. You don't have to do all that. And I'm just like, fuck, I'm sorry, dude, but his look on the business too has obviously impacted me as well. I don't want to miss anybody, man. One now, the relationship is what it is, but Manny Fernandez was a huge influence on my career back when I was with Lucha Extreme. That was another hard-nosed, no bullshit wrestler guy that taught me a lot, and the relationship is where it is now. But whatever. Uh, Still give him kudos where kudos is due. And just everyone that I've trained with, man. My coaches at Half Gracie, my jiu-jitsu world. Those guys at Legacy, at Muay Thai kickboxing. Tony Lopez, Tony the Tiger Lopez was my boxing coach out here in Sac. you know, all those guys, man, they play a heavy impact in my wrestling career because we convey realism. And if I don't know what realism is, how am I going to be able to convey it? So it's, I'm grateful for all those guys and just the guys that I've met in this business, you know, surrounding myself with guys that are better. And then we all want to be better and elevate ourselves, you know. Obviously, Thatcher, it's the best fucking pro wrestler in the world, I think. You know, look where he's at and look at his journey. You know, he never switched it up, man. Stayed true to who he is, and that's always what he always said. And I'm just happy to see him at the level he's at now, being Tim. You know, so that makes me happy. Cobb as well, you know. And then shit, man. I want to say that's it, but don't be mad if I missed anybody. But I'm just
let's do family. Family for sure.
fuck, dude. You're gonna make me cry, bro. Yeah, my my family for sure. My other half is incredible, man. She sometimes I can't even. I don't deserve it, man. She cooks all my fucking meals, dude. Preps all my shit for me. Does all my shit. I go train. You know, she's very supportive. My kids, you know, that's what we do it for, obviously. But yeah, man, she's. I'm just thankful, you know, that she's willingly living a dream that she never had with me. You know, so I'm grateful for it because without her, shit, I'd probably be a sumo wrestler or something, fat as hell, eating whatever, you know. But nah, she's awesome, dude. Cooks all my shit, like I said, man, and that's the hardest part of anything. So I'm grateful for that, and she loves and supports me. So takes care of all my injuries. Besides what I am on camera, she gets the real teddy bear. The fucking shit. Give me some fucking ice. But you know, I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful for it all. I really am, dude. This is truly who I am. I love this shit. I love every opportunity I get, and what can I say, man? I'm blessed. I'm happy. Hard work pays the fuck off, man.
I say so. And Don McGuire actually says that he grew up with Tony Lopez and Loreto Garza. So
Right
there you
on,
go.
man.
Yeah.
Loretto's a cool dude. I met him a couple times. I see him at the fights a lot. I like the way he faked his jab. He does a weird one. Like he whips it out this way and wow, like it was weird.
Yeah.
He caught me with it a couple times. You know what I mean?
Fuck. I don't want to be on the receiving end of that, you know. But
Right.
you were talking about being grateful, and I'm going to borrow from AEW's Dr. Luther because if you want to pray for blood, damn it, you got it. Because February 13th, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport is coming to you live on ITV pay-per-view. You got to check it out. Check out Josh Barnett and joshbarnett.com to get everything from Bloodsport, which Kratos is going to be a part of. And Don McGuire says, Kratos, you truly are the god of war.
Appreciate you, man.
100%. And
Appreciate you.
tremendous guest. I'm jealous. Great job. I appreciate that. But we
Yes, sir.
definitely got to give a hearty shout out to the War Master Josh Barnett for hooking this all up. Because if not, then none of this would happen. So again,
Right.
I prayed to the War Master for blood, and he brought me Bloodsport. So ching ching, we're
Fuck
here.
yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, Kratos, as you march into February 13th, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 4, where can people find you on social media?
On all social media outlets, at JR Kratos or at JR _ Kratos, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that. Hit me up, man. Let's follow the journey. Let's pursue it together, and let's all elevate, man. Let's do this shit.
Let's do this shit. Agreed. I couldn't have said it any better. But thank you guys for joining us here. Thank you, Kratos, for joining us
Thank
as
you,
you
brother.
march.
Thank you.
The pleasure's all mine. Now, again, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Yes, we're on Twitch too. So, I mean, the God of War. Like, Kratos, you're subscribed, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Damn right. And again, he's literally a god, right? So don't just take it from me. Don't just take it from Kratos. But here's Zeta Zhang to convince you.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe.